Kael kept his face carefully neutral as they packed their salvaged equipment, but every movement felt like betrayal. The archive's knowledge burned in his neural pathways, complete construction protocols for the dimensional barrier, power requirements, consciousness integration procedures. And underneath it all, the truth that made his hands shake as he secured his gear: eternal imprisonment wasn't just the price of becoming a warden. It was the point. The barrier required continuous conscious oversight to maintain selective permeability. But more than that, it needed someone whose awareness could be distributed across dimensional space, feeling every intrusion attempt, every reality fluctuation, every scout probe testing for weaknesses. Forever. Not death. Something worse. Fragment signatures are stabilizing, Elena reported, checking her scanner array one final time. Core forces have established a perimeter, but they're not advancing. They're waiting for something. Sable's hard light constructs flickered as she tested her damaged abilities. The scout encounter had left permanent scars in her resonance pathways, jagged interruptions that made her power stutter like a broken signal. Waiting for what? Global fragment convergence, imminent. Barrier construction opportunity, optimal. Warden selection, pending. The frequency's notifications felt different now, less predatory, more respectful. As if it understood the weight of what was coming. Or maybe that was the archive's influence, its vast databases of stolen consciousness teaching the frequency something like empathy. Kael shouldered his pack, the motion automatic while his mind processed impossible mathematics. 7 fragments working in harmony to create a selective membrane between realities. One consciousness distributed throughout the barrier matrix as eternal guardian. The equations were beautiful in their precision and horrifying in their implications. Time to move, he said, forcing normal inflection into his voice. The others will be gathering at the convergence point. They filed out of the safe house in tactical formation, Elena taking point while Ren's scanner painted their surroundings in cautious green. The deep zone's twisted landscape stretched around them, crystallized trees that hummed with trapped frequencies, gravity pools that pulled sideways instead of down, patches of air that tasted like memories. But Kael barely noticed the alien geography. His enhanced perception was cataloging his teammates instead, memorizing details he might not see again. Sable's determined stride despite her damaged abilities. Ren's nervous energy as he adjusted his glasses. Elena's professional competence masking deeper fears about what they were walking toward. Ghost flickered in and out of phase beside him, her translucent form more stable than it had been in months. "You're planning something," she said quietly, her voice barely audible. "That look you're wearing. I've seen it before." "What look?" "The same one Okafor had when he decided to sever his fragment connection." Her partially phased eyes studied his face with uncomfortable intensity. "The look of someone who's already said goodbye." Kael kept walking, but his careful neutral expression must have slipped. Ghost's hand, solid enough to grab his arm, stopped him cold. "The barrier construction," she whispered, pieces clicking together with terrifying clarity. "The archive showed you something. Something about the cost." Before he could answer, Ren appeared at his shoulder, scanner beeping with confused readouts. "Your neural patterns are weird. Dual fragment integration is causing substrate conflicts, but there's something else. Like you're processing information you're not sharing." The kid was too smart for his own good. Always had been. "I'm fine," Kael said, but even to his own ears it sounded like a lie. Ren's face cycled through expressions, confusion, calculation, and finally horrified understanding. "The Warden isn't just a job, is it? It's permanent integration with the barrier itself. Consciousness distribution across dimensional space." Elena spun around, rifle ready, as if the enemy they faced could be shot. "What are you talking about?" "The barrier needs continuous oversight," Ren continued, his voice climbing toward panic. Someone has to monitor it constantly, adjust for fluctuations, respond to intrusion attempts. But the only way to maintain that level of awareness is to become part of the wall itself. Sable finished, her hard-light constructs flaring with involuntary emotion. You're talking about forever. About giving up humanity completely. Kael met her eyes, seeing his own fear reflected in her expression. It's the only way to stop what's coming. The scouts, the corruption, the thing pressing against reality. Someone has to hold the line. There has to be another way, Ren insisted, his scanner painting the air with desperate calculations. Maybe rotating shifts, or partial integration, or... There isn't. The archive's knowledge spoke through Kael's voice with terrible certainty. The barrier requires singular consciousness. Division means weakness. Weakness means failure. They stood in a twisted landscape of the deep zone, surrounded by impossible geometry and crystallized frequencies, while the weight of inevitable sacrifice settled between them like poison. In the distance, 6 fragment signatures pulsed with increasing urgency, drawing them toward convergence and the choice that would damn one of them to eternal guardianship. Ghost phased fully solid, her dark eyes burning with something between grief and fury. I know that look, she said quietly, stepping close enough that only he could hear. You're planning to be the hero who doesn't come back. Tell me I'm wrong. Kael opened his mouth to lie, to offer false comfort, to pretend there might be another way. He couldn't.